Hello all, welcome to Techno channel. In this video we will see about how to create IDOC load jobs in SAP BODS. Before going into video, please subscribe to this channel if you are not yet subscribed and click the bell icon for regular updates. Let's see how to create IDOC load jobs in SAP BODS system. To create IDOC load job, we need IDOCs in our BODS data store. Let's create IDOC job for batch master object. Batmas is the IDOC name for batch master. To check the IDOCs, first we need to go to data stores here. In data stores under DS SAP we have IDOCs. So inside the IDOCs, Batmas is the IDOC for the batch master. So we already have Batmas here. Suppose if we want to import any IDOC, so we need to right click the IDOCs and go to import by name and type the name here like batmas03. This is the IDOC name for batch master. So if we click the import, then it will import the IDOC. We already have this IDOC, so we are not importing this. Let's create the load job. So new batch job jb underscore batch master is our object. So batch master underscore IDOC job IDOC load job is created. Now let's take the workflow inside the job. So I will name this workflow as IDOC underscore load. So inside the workflow, we will take the data flow. Now we created workflow and data flow for our IDOC job. Let's take the IDOC into our data flow. Okay. Take this batmas and drag and drop here. Always make IDOC message target. So IDOC should be message target to generate IDOCs. Now let's see the structure of Batmas IDOC. So this is the structure. EDI DC is the control segment. Even Batmas is the header segment. Even document enhancement is the enhancement segment. In EDI DC, what we give? Generally, we will give client and sender port, receiver port, and message type, IDOC type, and what else we will give? Sender partner number and receiver partner number and direction. These are the values we will give in the control segment. So we will get these values from the SAP or from the functional consultants. So for even Batmas, we have multiple subsegments here. So here material, batch, plant, storage location, and material length. These are the main fields for this batch master. So remaining all are subsegments. We will create one query for each segment. We need to create those many queries. Suppose for even Batmas we need to create one query and we need to give all these fields. And if we go to here batch chart, for this chart segment we need to create one query and we need to keep all the fields available here. So that we need to map the value from our transformation table. So for every segment we need to create one query and maintain all the values in that query. Let's go back and build the IDOC job. First we will create the query for control segment EDI DC40. Let's take a query transform here. So name it as EDI underscore DC40. Always remember name of our query should equal to the name of the segment EDI DC40. So for control segment we don't give any data here. For control segment we are not giving any transformed data or converted data. So we don't need any transformation table as input for this control segment. Let's take row generation transform as input. So I'm taking row generation transform as input for this and joining here. So we need to keep all the values in this query. What are the values? We need to keep all the EDI/DC columns. These columns should be present in that query. By creating manually all those fields is very difficult. So let me tell you easiest way to do this. Take another query transform and join it with the IDOC. Need any input for this query. Let's take row generation as input because without input query transform will not be allowed. Go to EDI/DC segment and this one EDI/DC segment we cannot copy here. So we need to make this segment as make current. So here right click and make current if you give. So now we can copy this segment. Copy all the fields in this segment. So I'm copying and go back and paste it here. So I'm pasting it here. Paste. If you see here in this EDI/DC query, we have all the fields which are available in our EDI/DC segment. So like this, we need to create all the queries for each segment. Suppose let's go to the another segment which is even bat mass. This segment is even bat mass. For even bat mass, we need to create another query. So let's take another query transform even bat mass. So what are all the fields present in even bat mass segment? If you go to even bat mass segment, we have material, batch, plant and storage location. These are all the fields present in this segment. So we need material number, batch number and plant and storage location. So we need transformation table as input to get the material number, batch number and plant values. So let's take our transformation table as input. TTBMDET load is the final preload table, which means whatever the data present in this table will go into the target system, which is valid data. So take this transformation table as source and connect it with the even batmass query. So this query should also have whatever the field present in even batmass segment, we need to take those into batmass query. So go back and go to this query if you can and make even batmass as current. Right click, make current. So now you can copy these fields from this segment. So copied and coming back. If you go here and paste it here, paste all those fields here. Right click and paste it. So these are all the fields present in even batmass segment. So we have those fields in our query. Simple thing is we need to make separate query for each segment and make all the fields available in that query for each segment. Similarly, create the query for next segment which is even batch chart. For this batch chart also we will create another query. Take the query here. Chart. In this batch chart also we have fields like expiry date and production date. So expiry date and production date will come from our transformation table. So we can give our transformation table as the source for this segment also. So let's give this our transformation table as source for this query. Now copy all the fields in batch chart segment and paste it in that query and make current so that you can copy all the fields in that segment. Copy. This query also created. Like this, we will create query for each segment in our IDOC and make sure all the fields in the segment should be present in our query.
So like this we need to create all the queries for each segment. So these are all the queries for the each segment which are present in our IDOC. So I will tell why I create this distinct query later. Instead of connecting directly from transformation table to our queries, I created the query here because I can give any filter I want here. So that I created the query here. Control segment and enhancement segment, no need of any transformation data. So we created the row generation transform as the input source for these two. And for remaining all the segment queries, we created the transformation table as source. So next, what is the step we have to do? We need to nest all the queries to one query. So we need to connect all the queries here to single query. This is the nested query which is looking like similar to our IDOC structure. So if you see the structure here, input structure and output structure both are same, which is equal to our IDOC structure. See here, even Batmas, we have all the subsegments here. So if you go to your nested segment, we have all the segments which is similar to our IDOC. No, and all the naming conventions also should be similar to our IDOC segments. So here we need to map accordingly. I created this distinct query. So for our batch master, to avoid duplicate records in our target system, we are creating this distinct query. So these 7 fields, we won't get any duplicates here. We took these 7 fields from our transformation table, so we won't get any duplicate record. To avoid duplicates, we will use distinct query here. So in the nested function, mapping is very important. For EDI DC, we will map EDI DC here. Mapping every field should be important. We need to create the structure which is looking like our IDOC. Structure of IDOC is same to the nested query. This is how we will create the IDOC job using SAP BODS. So mainly here we need to create query for each segment which is present in our IDOC. So we will take our transformation table as source here. We take IDOC message type as our target. If we say it simply, we will create query for each segment and we will nest all the queries into one query and we will match that query with the structure of IDOC. How to generate IDOCs, how to process IDOCs, how to connect BODS system with the SAP system, we will see in another video. Hope you understood how to create IDOC job. If you have any questions, please write it in the comment section. If you find this video useful, please like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.